So I decided to do my informative speech on piracy, and I have chosen Courtney Love's debate on piracy for music. Today I want to talk about piracy and music. What is piracy? Piracy is the act of stealing an artist's work without any intention of paying for it. I'm not talking about Napster type software, Pandora, Slacker, things like that. I'm talking about major label recording contracts. I want to start with a story about rock bands and record companies and do some recording contract math. This story is about a bidding war band that gets a huge deal with a 20% royalty rate and $1 million advance. This is my funny math based on some reality, and I just want to qualify it by saying I'm positive it's better math than what Edgar Bronfman Jr., the president and CEO of Seagram, would provide. What happens to that $1 million? They spend $500,000 to record their album. That leaves the band with $500,000. They pay $100,000 to their manager for 20% commission. They pay $25,000 to each their lawyer and business manager. That leaves $350,000 for the 4 band members to split. After $170,000 in taxes, there's $180,000 left. That comes to about $45,000 per person. That's $45,000 to live on for an entire year until the record gets released. The record is a big hit and sells 1 million copies. How a bidding war band sells 1 million copies of its debut record in another rant entirely, but it's based on any basic civics class knowledge that any of us are about cartels. Put simply, the antivirus laws in this country are basically a joke, protecting us just enough to not have to rename our park service to Philip Morris National Park Service. So this band releases 2 singles and makes 2 videos. The 2 videos cost $1 million to make, and 50% of the video production costs are recouped out of the band's royalties. The band gets $200,000 in tour support, which is 100% recoupable. The record company spends $300,000 on independent radio promotion. You have to pay independent radio promotion to get your song on the radio. Independent promotion is a system where the record companies use your song on the radio and are the middlemen so they can pretend not to know that the radio stations, the unified broadcast system, are getting paid to play their records. All of those independent promotion costs are charged to the band. Since the original $1 million advance is also recoupable, the band owes $2 million to the record company. If all of the 1 million records are sold at full price with no discounts or record clubs, the band earns $2 million in royalties, since their 20% royalty works out to $2 a record. $2 million in royalties minus $2 million in recoupable expenses equals 0. How much does the record company make? They grossed $11 million. It cost $500,000 to manufacture the CDs, and the advance the band $1 million. Plus, there were $1 million in video costs, $300,000 in radio promotion, and $200,000 in tour support. The company also paid $750,000 in music publishing royalties. They spent $2.2 million on marketing. That's mostly retail advertising, but marketing also pays for the huge poster of Marilyn Manson in Times Square, and the street scouts who drive around in vans handing out black corn t-shirts and backwards baseball caps, not to mention trips to stores and cash for tips for all in sundry. Added up, and the record company has spent about $4.4 million. So their profit is $6.6 million. The band may as well be working at 7-Eleven. Of course, they had fun. Hearing yourself on the radio, selling records, getting new fans, and being on TV is great. But now the band doesn't have enough money to pay rent, and nobody has any credit. Worst of all, after this, the band owns none of its work, and they can pay the mortgage forever, but they'll never own the house. Like I said, sharecropping. Our media says, boo-hoo, poor pop stars, they have a nice ride. But I say this dialogue is imperative. Any cynical media people who are more fascinated with the celebrity than most celebrities need to reacquaint themselves with their value systems. When you look at the legal line on a CD, it says copyright 1976 Atlantic Records or copyright 1996 RCA Records. When you look at a book, though, it'll say something like copyright 1999 Susan Faludi or David Foster Wallace. Authors own their books and license them to publishers. When the contract runs out, writers get their books back. but record companies own copyrights forever. The system is set up so almost nobody gets paid. The opinion is I really haven't formed yet. So I speak about Napster, Pandora, Slacker. Please understand that I am not totally informed. I will be the first in line to file a class action suit to protect my copyrights if Napster or even the far more advanced Nutella doesn't work out with us to protect us. I also think Metallica is being given too much grief. It's anti-artist, for one thing. An artist speaks up and the artist gets squashed. Sharecropping, don't get above your station. It's not piracy when kids swap music over the internet using Napster. Somewhere along the way, record companies figured out that it's a lot more profitable to control the distribution system than it is to nurture artists. And since companies didn't have any real competition, artists had no other place to go. Record companies controlled the promotion and marketing. Only they had the ability to get lots of radio play and get records into all the big chain store. The power put them above the artists and the audience. They owned the plantation. I'm looking for people to help connect me to more fans because I believe fans will be a tip based on the enjoyment and service I provide. I'm not scared of them getting a preview. It really is going to be a global village where 1 billion people have access to one artist and 1 billion people can leave a tip if they want to. It's a radical democratization. Every artist has access to every fan, and every fan has access to every artist, and the people who direct fans to those artists. People that give advice and technical value are the people we need. People crowding the distribution pipe and trying to ignore fans and artists have no clue. This is a perfect system. If you're going to get a company that deals with musicians, please do it because you like music. Offer some control and equity to the artist to try and give us some more creative guidance. If music and art and passion are important to you, there are hundreds of artists who are ready to rewrite the rules. In the last few years, businesses pulled our culture away from the idea that music is important and emotional and sacred. But new technology has brought a real opportunity for change. We can break down the old system and give musicians real freedom and choice. A great writer named Neil Stephenson said that America does 4 things better than any other country in the world: rock music, movies, software, and high-speed pizza delivery. All of these are sacred American art forms. Let's return to our purity and our idealism while we have this shot. Warren Beatty once said, "The greatest gift God gives us is to enjoy the sound of our own voice, and the second greatest gift is to get somebody to listen to it." And for that, I humbly thank you.